going on, everyone? Thrift Behringer here, live from Calvary Christian School. It's another Sitting with an Athletic Director State of the Programs, and I am with head baseball coach and athletic director Steve Smith. Coach, thank you so much. We're going to do this over again, and we're going to do it right this time. Coach, first thing is, year number 3 is about to start. Where did the time go, man? How have these last couple of years been for you as AD?
It's gone by real quick. First year you're really just trying to get a understanding of how everything is set up, and maybe start looking at some things that you can look to improve. Year 2, you really are trying to take what you learned in that first year and really start to build. Year 3. We've got some plans for some things to really kind of help take our athletic programs to the next level. So really excited about the third year. First couple years really just trying to get an understanding of everything, and obviously last year moving into a new league added a different layer of some things that we needed to learn and kind of experience as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Coach. And obviously we make the transition into the GIAA. So I guess we can really start there too. The GIAA move that you were really high on, that you've really pushed. How do you think year 1 went with Calvary Athletics in 24-25?
Yeah, I thought it was a successful transition. I think we have to be very careful of not necessarily looking and making evaluations based on final records and all those type of things in a first year. I think we have to look at, did it push us? And that's really what we were looking for, the reason why we wanted to move into a new league. Is it really stretching us to reevaluate all of our programs and make the required adjustments that are needed for us to be able to take our individual athletic programs to the next level, and it definitely did do that. I think what you saw is there was an adjustment period for a lot of our teams, and we'll get into individually with some of our sports. But I think if you watched some of our teams early on in the seasons, especially when they were first starting to play consistent competition, not necessarily GIA competition, but consistent competition, there was an adjustment period, but ultimately I think we all can look back and say we learned some things, we're better prepared going into the second year. And I think, if you were to ask a Pacelli, a Brookstone, or any other team, any other program that made a move into either GIA or made a move into GHSA, there's a period of adjustment that needs to take place. Same thing even goes for Calvary. When we moved into GICAA at the time, there was a period of adjustment going out of GISA into GICAA. Right. So any type of transition that you make like that's wholesale with the entire or as big as it is, there's going to be some transition that needs to take place. So we're looking forward to year 3.
Yeah, I know you are, Coach. And talking about you personally, Coach, and had a lot of success, man. And doing that Chattahoochee thing was a big deal. I know opportunities have come from the collegiate level, whether it be other big-time major level high schools. Why have Calvary been the place you've called home and never even entertained anywhere else, man?
Yeah, I've gotten calls from other schools, from some colleges and some other opportunities that are pretty cool opportunities that, maybe 20 years ago, 15 years ago, I probably would explore. I'm at a point. I love Calvary. This has been my home. This has been a place that we're invested in, not only just in the school, but also on the church side as well. I made it known very early on when I took this job that I wasn't using this as a stepping stone for something. I wanted to make this the thing that was bigger and better, not do something that was propelling to me to something bigger and better. Getting the opportunity to do the Chattahoochee was great. It allowed me to kind of scratch that itch of coaching collegiate players at the same time while still being able to stay at Calvary. And we had some ideas of where that was going to go, and obviously with the Braves coming in, that kind of changed some things. But I love where I'm at. This is where I believe God has called me to be, and I'm not out there looking for other places. This is I'm invested here and really excited about what the next chapter looks like for us here at Calvary.
And a lot of that has to do with the administration and them believing in you and you believe in them and being on the same page. From Jonathan Norton, which I'll let you talk about, to now the addition of high school principal Matt Bell. I mean, all y'all being on the same page, man, is very crucial. So talk about the administration and the new additions that have made this school even better now.
So the addition of Jonathan Norton last year, obviously he has been a coach here for several years. But bringing him in the role as head of school has has been tremendous for us. For one, he has and really coming from the athletic side, there's a really strong understanding of the importance that athletics brings into a school experience. He's very consistent. His ability to navigate through conflict resolution is really good. But he's also brought on a fresh set of ideas, and and as time kind of goes on, it's always good to get a fresh perspective. He comes with a lot of experience, and really, I think same thing for him. Like I was just talking about for myself, he just completed his first full year. Right, first full year, you're trying to really, eyes are wide open, trying to understand how things are being done, and really make some mental notes of where there needs to be some changes. I think as he goes into year 2, I think he's really looking at, all right, how can we really try to make this run even better than what we did last year? And you can see it in the growth. We've talked in the past before. We're approaching 1,000 students.
It's crazy. Man.
We're on wait lists in several of our grades. We're at a point now where we need to expand. From a classroom facility standpoint, for us to continue to keep growing. So right now, we're literally having to kind of pump the brakes a little bit because we can't take any more students in certain classes. It's a good place to be in, but it's also from the other side, if God is bringing more kids into your school, you want to be able to take them. So excited about him in his second year. You mentioned about Matt Bell. Matt Bell coming in from Muskogee County, just a ton of experience over there in several different roles. And for him, he gets to move kind of from being in the position of mentoring principals and being in the office and kind of mentoring at that level to now moving back to interacting with students on a day-to-day basis. And he seems very, very energized about moving into this role as principal for our high school. And for us, what a huge get that
Big
is.
Time.
For our students, and they don't know it yet. They'll have an opportunity to meet with him several times and talk with him. He's going to be an exceptional fit for us here. And again, I think in combination with Coach Norton, or Mr. Norton as the head of school, I think the two of them and our supporting staff, I think we're heading in a really strong direction right now.
I love that, Coach, and I love the growth, man. I remember 15 years ago, Calvary was about 400 or 500 students. To be near 1,000, man, is really incredible, and it's a credit to everyone here, including yourself, continuing the vision that was already a staple within this community, Coach. Now, I do want to talk about, before we end this first part of the segment of State of the Programs, and we'll get into individual sports, you had something special happen. We broke news a few weeks ago, and then our interview just went haywire, and I'll take full responsibility for that, Coach. But Steve Smithwick, a guy that I played against when he was here, the winningest coach in Calvary Christian Knights basketball program history. Talk about what was the reason behind putting his name on the court.
Yeah, I mean, really, it was a no-brainer when you look back at the history of athletics of Calvary Christian School. He's one of the few that really kind of stands out. And it's not just from the standpoint of wins and losses, right, and even longevity, right? Because he did he coached for several years, and I think multiple stints, and had a lot of success. Brought them all the way up to a state championship. I think lost by 1 point.
Yep.
Region championships and all those. But it's the impact that he's had on the young men that have come through this school. But we had an opportunity a few weeks back to bring his family in. We had Greg Russell and our booster club president Marvin Chestnut and Coach Norton and our basketball coach. With that all of us, along with his family, had the opportunity to just honor him and show him for the first time the court. But extremely deserving. He's a humble man. And again, and one of the things that I've mentioned, a few different times is not just the people that he impacted, the whatever hundreds of kids that have come through the program that he had an opportunity to actually coach, but how he continues to have an impact on this school to the hundreds and even upwards of 1,000 kids that have come through, and what him and his family and the legacy that he has left and continues to lead has been impressive, which made it an absolute no-brainer to name our court after him. It's something that there was some legs to it years ago, but this was the right time for us to be able to do it, and really proud for him, proud for his family. Very, very deserving man for us to be able to bestow that honor on.
No doubt, and I was really excited to break that news, and I can't wait because in their ceremony that we're going to have coming up here in the not too distant future.
Yeah, we will look to do an official naming of the court ceremony during basketball season. So we had talked about doing it. Do we want to do it right away in volleyball season? But we're going to wait till basketball season. And just to be able to make it an evening, just basically just celebrating him.
Yep, no doubt about it. Well, we're going to take a quick break and stay to the programs here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
It's a great day for a new Chevrolet from Glenn Smith in Opelika. Take to the road in a rugged new full-size Chevy Silverado with discounts up to $13,000 off MSRP. New 2026 Chevy Equinox with all-around versatility and affordable pricing. Now with discounts up to $4,000 off MSRP. People from all over the USA are coming to Glenn Smith Chevrolet. Get ready to drive and get ready to smile.
Welcome back to State of the Programs. That's Steve Smith. And by the way, I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. We've been dropping a lot of podcasts and new shows on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, and I've got so many people asking me, we need more Steve Smith. They heard him in the GIAA games. We need more Steve Smith. So hopefully in the not too distant future, we're going to have a baseball podcast with Steve Smith. So keep that and putting that out there right now, Coach. So I don't know
awesome.
if you want to do it or not, but you're going to do it.
I'd love to do it.
All right, let's go ahead and get into fall sports, man. And let's start with football. Emmanuel Brunson, great job in year number 1. And he obviously went to the state championship. Number 2, learning curve. What are you excited about for year number 3?
Yeah, you look at year 1, really trying to define what he wanted the culture to be like. I thought he did a really good job coming in and really, from a work ethic standpoint, I thought he did a really good job of really coming in late. Of defining what he wanted the spring and the summer to look like. Had some success in gaps, obviously, getting to a state championship, but we also understand getting to a state championship there was a little bit different than getting to a state championship, obviously, inside of GIAA. Going into the following year, I think what we saw was obviously the physical nature week after week after week and the toll that had on our team. Not necessarily from a skill standpoint, but from a depth standpoint. So, he's really tried to put a lot of attention and focus on that. The work that they've put in, since December, has been in preparation of this. We're really excited going into this year. With an understanding of, we got a chance to see and experience it last year. And I think they have a better understanding of what it's going to take for them to be able to have success inside of this league. From an exciting standpoint, from what we've done through the summer, we've played in several 7-on-7s. And again, those are not a complete indication of where your team is at because you don't have the guys down in the trenches. But there's been a lot of success that we've had. We played in some larger ones, and they split there. And then this past weekend went and played in the 7-on-7 at Schley County, and we ended up going 4-0 and played really, really well. Yeah. So we feel like our skill players, we're in a really good position and really even have some depth there. And it really is just going to come down to what does our special teams look like? What does our line look like on the offensive side? What does our defense look like? But we feel like we're in a good position going into this next year. So very excited about going into this football season.
A lot of hype surrounding here in year number 3, and so we're excited. Terrell County is the first game on the road, so can't wait for that. That was a good one last year. Went down to the wire. Coach, let's talk about now volleyball. You hired a new coach, and you're excited about this program continue its progression.
Yeah. So Kendra Henthorn, we hired her. She's familiar with Calvary. She's been our middle school coach for several years and actually has led them to the last 2 state championships and an undefeated season last year. She's really good on the development side. And so when we approached her early on and she loves that middle school age and really loves the focus on development. But we were able to convince her to take the varsity job, and she's jumped right in, has done a great job, has built a strong staff around her. This is the year for our volleyball team. You know, we've had some talent in their some girls that were very talented in their freshman year, sophomore year. We felt like they kind of underachieved a little bit last year. They're going into their junior year, and you know, we're hoping they're going to be able to kind of put it all together. So this going into this year, you know, when you look at volleyball and you look back 2 years ago in gaps, you know, we had a lot of success in gaps, region championships, won a state championship. But that last year, we actually had a better record last year going into GIAA, and but felt like we could have done a little bit more going into the postseason. So we're looking for them to make that deep run this next year, and we believe Kendra is going to be the right person to be able to help guide them to that in that direction.
One of the other sports that had a lot of youth but made a pretty decent run and surprised a lot of people was the softball program led by Jeff Halstead. Talk about what you're expecting this year with a lot of hype, man. You made last year to the semifinals. Big expectations for this year.
Yeah, we're not gonna really sneak up on anyone this year. Yeah. I think last year when you looked at our softball program, a lot of skill in 8th and 9th grade, and that's very unusual. You know, we had one senior, no juniors, and one sophomore, and everybody else was in 8th and 9th grade. And you watch what Coach Carson Lloyd had done for several years, winning 3 state championships inside of gaps. Jeff gets the opportunity to come right in first year. Hey, you're going into GIAA. You know, and they did well. They did really well. You know, just a little bit over 500. But this is where you're going to start to see, and I think you'll start to see them separate themselves from the pack, even inside of GIA. There's a lot of talent there. You've got a Tatnall and FPD, and I mean, there's some. But you're going to start to see us move into that realm, you know, with some of those clubs, and then locally. You're going to start to see Calvary be in the same mention with some of the other really strong softball programs, you know, in this area. And some of those are big programs that have had a lot of success and won state championships in, you know, multiple years. But we feel like we've got a talent pool that's still very young. That over the next couple of years you're gonna hear Calvary mentioned, you know, in the same breath as a lot of those schools as well. So we're really excited about that group, and I think with the experience they got in the playoffs last year is going to help them going into this next year. And
what else is going to help too is elevating facilities, which you have a dynamic hitting facility now.
Yeah, if you, for those of you that have never been on our campus, we have an unbelievable softball facility, from the field, the padded wall, and then now into the hitting facility, which again, when you step foot into it, I mean, it's on par with Division II softball programs, and probably some Division I programs. I mean, it is impressive. It is extremely impressive. So, and there's still some plans to do some other things, and we're still they're still doing some work with you know, landscaping all around, just trying to tie everything in, but. It's really, you know, you go from, I guess 4 years ago, not having a softball field on campus, to now you have this, and really this is probably close to 5 years now from when it started. But now going to where we have this all on our campus, to where it's one of the top softball facilities in the city of Columbus, and really even kind of around this area. Our girls are extremely blessed with what they have.
No doubt about it. And in cross country, you have a legendary coach that does an amazing job with those athletes.
So Coach Susie Dunn and Coach Jeremy Hale, they run our cross country program, and really, you know, you look at the success that we've had, you know, not just in terms of winning meets and all that, but sending kids on to play at the next level. We still have a couple runners that are still competing at the college level. We've got one running still at Samford. But they do a great job of building that love and that passion for running, which will be something that a lot of these kids, long after they're done playing any sports, a lot of times you develop that passion, and it's something that can stick with you for the rest of your life, and is a great thing to be able to do. But she makes it enjoyable, as enjoyable as it can be, running in 95-degree weather.
The hottest part of the year, man. Come on.
But they do a phenomenal job, and again, you look at the participation levels. We've grown so much that now, even this past year, we added a junior league. So 4th and 5th grade kids are now able to run cross country at Calvary because, again, there was a demand for it. So they both do a tremendous job. We've got a good group coming up this next year. We've got a good mix of your experienced runners and some of your inexperienced runners that are a little bit younger. So we're excited about cross country this year.
Yeah, and it's a sport, especially the color run. That is, we do a fundraiser.
Yes.
I was got to be a part of last year. Can't wait to be a part of it this year. Even though I did get sprayed in the face with some paint, the color paint, and my eyes were watering up, Coach. It was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
But it's a cool event.
September 19th, and I don't know what year this will be. Maybe year 4 that
Right.
we've done the color run, but it's a great event that we've hosted for the last few years. So it's opportunity. It's more of a community event than it is necessarily a fundraiser. But it's a great time. Last year, 600 runners. I mean, it was massive. And so that'll be September 19th this year. We'll pair that with a varsity home football game, and it's a great time. So we are always excited about the color run, and it brings a lot of people onto our campus, and again, like I said, it ties into a varsity home football game. So it's a great event.
Now let's go to band. I know technically band is not underneath sports, but they're part of sports with going to football games and stuff like that. Who leads the band, and then go into cheerleader?
So Nathan Berryhill is our band director, and really the way our school has kind of got it structured, marching band falls underneath fine arts, and Lauren Wood is our fine arts director. But it's the last probably 3-4 years, it's really grown in terms of size, and they've done a phenomenal job. Go to a lot of different competitions and have come away against 4 and 5A schools and have gotten tremendous reviews and scores in those competitions. They perform every Friday night for us, and when possible, they normally will travel with us as well. So, but Nathan does a great job leading them. For cheer, Megan Lloyd has led our cheer program for several years. She's going to move into a little bit of a different role with her daughter moving into cheer at Calvary. So her daughter will be cheering with our impact level, which is our younger girls. And so Sarah Harris will be taking over. And Sarah has led our middle school program for the last several years, led them to a state championship, a national championship, and we'll be taking that over. She's alumni, very familiar with Calvary Christian School, and has had a lot of really good ideas about what we're going to be doing next. So excited about the direction of where cheer is heading, and she's the director over sideline for football and basketball, and then competition for varsity, middle school, and then obviously for impact. So it's a large program.
Yeah,
so,
no doubt.
Looking forward to cheer this year.
From fall sports, we'll go to winter, but we're going to take a quick break. It's State of the Programs here, Calvary Christian School, Georgia, Alabama Sports Live.
Hi, this is Mayor Skip Henderson inviting you to join me on September 12th for a day of golf, fellowship, and giving back at our 3rd annual Keep Columbus Beautiful Mayor's Golf Tournament at Bull Creek Golf Course. At Bull Creek Golf Course, not only will you enjoy a great day on the golf course, but you'll have a chance to win a brand new BMW thanks to BMW of Columbus. Registration is now open. Don't miss your chance to hit the green for a great cause. Let's tee it up for a cleaner Columbus. See you on the green.
Welcome back to State of the Programs from Calvary Christian School. Steve Smith, Thrift Behringer. Coach, we're in winter now, and I'm going to do a duo of sports. We're going to do archery, and we're going to talk swimming. Who leads those programs? Who are the top athletes in that?
So archery is led by Amber Wojner, and Chuck Raymer actually came on last year.
By the way, we streamed a game last year.
You did?
We streamed an entire.
Yeah.
Shout out to Richard Aldridge. 7 hours of sitting there watching.
First time
First time
ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they both lead our archery program. Amber's the director.
Yep.
Chuck will be moving into the role as kind of head coach going into next year.
Awesome.
Same thing, like the level of participation at Calvary has been huge, and really it starts with Amber and her coaches will come in for a PE section each semester and start to show some of our students, kind of the basics of how to shoot archery. And what we end up finding out is kids they'll shoot and be like, man, I'm pretty good at this.
Yeah.
And for some of them, it may be that they're athletes and this is just another thing for them to be able to do. Or for others, a lot of times they find out, I'm not really a part of an athletic team. Maybe I like doing some other things. Maybe I'm in fine arts or I'm really strong on the academic side, but I found out I'm really good at archery. And so what you do is you get a good collection of kids throughout the school that participate in it. So they always do a great job with that program. And then swim, we only have one swimmer. Maley Barbie last year had a really good season, and so we're excited about her coming back. Her mom Tara is the one that runs our swim program for us. And we're hoping over the next couple of years we can expand on that and turn that into more of a program. It really ended up being where she wanted to swim and wanted to swim for her school, so that's why we kind of put her in that position to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So hopefully she can build off of where she finished last year. I think she finished 12th in the state last year. So as she continues to keep improving, she'll be able to. I think she's going to make some noise going into this next year.
Let's talk basketball, and we'll first start with the girls. Jonathan Norton, he's a Hall of Fame coach at CSU, did an amazing job, and now the last couple of years. Last year, specifically, you lose your leading scorer. That's hard to overcome, and I felt like this team actually got better as the year went along. Talk about what you're excited about this year with him. And it's kind of he's the head of the school, but he's also the coach, so he's underneath you in athletics.
Yeah.
It's a cool dynamic with you and him.
He obviously you mentioned him being Hall of Fame coach.
Right.
He just does a really good job with those girls. You talk about last year. I mean, what a difficult season to kind of go through. Your leading scorer kind of halfway through the season, leaves, and so you're having to kind of pick up the pieces and figure out, like, we're a completely different team now. And I agree with you. I think they showed what it did was it put some other girls in a position to lead. I think they were a little bit too reliant, and maybe were not as aggressive as they needed to be. And what they ended up finding out was, hey, we're pretty good too, and we can kind of develop and in our own right. It'll be a very different way. It's hard to replace 20+ points a game.
Right.
But if you watch them, the energy on the court was great. I felt like you started to see them defensively start to gel a little bit better. And so going into this next year, he's got a lot of athletes, and it's really all about, all right, well, how can we take this really strong group of athletes, and how can we kind of take them to this next level, teach them how to press, teach them how to play strong defense, at the same time knock down free throws and be able to produce enough offense. So I think what you're going to see is a little bit of what we saw at the end of last season. You're going to see us really be able to build on that. Because, again, when you have to make those adjustments in the middle of the season, it's really, really difficult. But when you have a little bit of time coming out of an off season, you can really start to develop what plays best suit this group of girls that we have. And he's surrounded by phenomenal coaches with Coach Dunn, Coach Grant Smithwick, Coach Lawrence Miller. That group, they do a really good job of getting the most out of those girls.
Yeah, no doubt. And for the boys, shout out to John Gordon. Year number 3 for him. Year 1, he's in the gaps. Learning curve for him in his first year as a head coach. Did a really good job. Did make the playoffs. Year 2, in the first year in the GIAA, the talent was there, but then the injury bug it was hard to overcome for them. Still made the playoffs and showed growth, and now he's got a young but exciting team coming up. Talk about his progression as a coach in year number 3.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really invested in this, and this is the reason why I'm saying really invested in this. He calls me just about every time after every single game, and so we always kind of go through, and he debriefs, and so I'm very invested in basketball because I can see where his mind's kind of working. And what's been exciting about, Coach Gordon is, as a young coach, see him come in, he's got a ton of passion for it. And seeing him kind of work through some things, and one of the things I tried there are some things that, for coaches that obviously are non-negotiables, but for most of them, it really is, hey, what do you want to be as a coach? My job is not to really completely mold you. My job is to really support you.
Right.
And so he has some really good ideas of what he wants to be as a coach. And really, if you look at the difference between year 1 and year 2, and I think in year 3, you're going to see the maturation process of a good coach.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for him. He's had to do it a little bit differently every single year.
Right.
You look at the makeup of the team in year 1 versus year 2, and then potentially going into year 3, which is a young team, a very young team.
Very.
But very, very talented, probably more talent than he's ever had.
I agree.
And so as a coach, your job is to how do I increase that learning curve so this way I can get those guys quicker to a place that they need to be, that they can really help contribute to a high functioning basketball team. So will not be surprised. Again, you look at year 1, improve on year 2. It would not be a shocker if he's finding his way in that mix of competing for a championship very soon.
I completely agree, and it starts with the young talent that you get to grow and develop yourself. You know, it's nice getting an infusion from a junior and senior, but you get a 9th grader that you can have for 4 years. There's nothing like it. You know that better than anyone with your program. We're going to not take a break. We're going to go right into spring sports. And, Coach, we got many to start with. I'm going to go first. Tennis, golf combo. Who leads those programs?
So golf is led by David Folds. David took over for Marty Durden.
Yep.
They had coming off of winning 3 state championships between gaps.
Yep.
And then moving into GIA. They had a strong showing this year. Tristan Whitley, who's going on to play college at the next level, performed well in all of the GIA events and the other events. He's done a good job. One of the things that we had talked about when he first came on was really looking at how do we increase participation in golf? How do we make it more attractive? How do we get away from, in years past, we were more on the homeschool side of our golf team.
Right.
And how do we start to transition that to be way more on the side of our enrolled school students? And obviously inside of GIA you're only allowed 1 homeschool student. So he's done a phenomenal job. Had some athletes that played baseball or played soccer, football, and decided, hey, I'm going to jump in and play golf this year. And we talked about cross country earlier, about the developing that love for something that you can do beyond high school. Well, golf and tennis are 2 of those sports that you can play into your 70s and 80s.
No doubt, man.
if you want to. So really excited in the direction golf is heading. We're hoping to have a potential announcement of an expansion of our golf program, hopefully in the next month, which will help create that pipeline of young athletes coming through our golf program. For tennis, the tennis is a sport that's in our 2nd year, going into our 3rd year. The participation with that sport has been phenomenal, to the point where we've gotten a lot of people that have gotten really excited about potentially putting tennis courts on our campus. And so we're looking in that possibility. We're looking into that possibility right now. We've got some parents and people that are behind that really want to try to make that happen. But you look at won a state championship last year in gaps, and then win a state championship first year inside of GIA, Finley Jeffers. And mom and dad, Mom Kim is the one that runs our program. Matt also assists there as well. So the 2 of them just do a tremendous job inside of our tennis program. And that is a program that's going to continue to keep building, especially as the younger kids continue to keep coming through, because our middle school program was pretty good last year as well.
Yeah, and that's where it starts, again, at a young age, and it progressing up and developing them. Let's go now to track and field.
Track and field last year, Coach Brunson and Coach Dunn. You hear Coach Dunn just about every single season, right? She does something.
She doesn't stop coaching.
In the fall, she does something in the winter, and then obviously does something in the spring as well. The 2 of them, they led our track and field program last year, along with Carlton Williams, who also coaches football. they really were all kind of jumping into it really for the first time. Coach Brunson's done some training with that. And then Coach Williams had helped coach track and field the year before. So they learned a lot this year. But what we saw was we've got a lot of just phenomenal athletes. A lot of phenomenal athletes. And I think that over this next year, we're going to really be able to kind of put them in a better position to compete at a higher level inside of track and field. But again, with the experience of it being first year inside of GIA and then 2 first-year coaches inside of track, we had some bumps in the road that I think going into this next year, they're going to be able to really help put us in a strong position going into next year.
Another sport that y'all really were successful at is soccer, and obviously the boys program were literally seconds away from making a state championship appearance. The girls are going to have an improved year. Talk about who leads both those programs.
Yeah, so for our girls soccer team, we had a really talented player this past year in Brooklyn Van. And she is graduating a year early and going to play at Samford.
Oh man!
So we lose her. Our girls soccer team. Again, you look at a lot of our programs. There's a ton of talent in kind of that 8th and 9th grade. Soccer's kind of that same boat. So this will be one of those transition years probably for our girls soccer team. But we're looking forward just to continue to keep building and growing and improving numbers and participation, and kind of take that next step for our girls soccer program. Our boys soccer program, when you look at what Coach Orr has done over the last several years, it's really been building to get to this point. So 2 years ago, win a state championship inside of Gaps.
Yep.
Young crew of the talented guys, but with some real good leadership. Last year, to be honest with you, the last year of Gaps, we underperformed. We should have absolutely won that year. Probably were the most talented team. And it came down to we didn't play clean and got sent home.
Right.
Last year, really felt like we had a good shot of pushing for a matchup against Pacelli. They score a goal with like 40-something seconds left.
Unbelievable.
And you lose that match 1-0. That's a heartbreaker. That's one of those things as a coach, you go back and what could we have done differently? Is there anything else that we could have done to put us in a better position? But a strong first year inside of GIA. But you watch out for them for this next year. That group has come all the way through. They're seniors now. Won a state championship in as a freshman. Underachieved and were very hungry after their sophomore year. Strong team last year. They're going to be seniors this next year. Watch out for our boys soccer team.
Now, it was an incredible game, by the way, in that semifinal. I remember watching it, Coach. But a sport that you love near and dear to your heart, that's been your baby for over a decade now, it's a baseball program. 6 straight state championships. And then this year, I felt like, Coach, you had to coach harder than you had in quite some time because you had a lot of talent that you developed that guys that almost coached themselves. Last year, you were moving every trick in the book, it seemed like, to get through that season. Talk about, now that you've been able to recap and reflect, how that year 1 went in the GIAA for baseball, and what's your expectation now heading in year 2?
Yeah, last year was my 12th year, and really one of our more challenging years. I could see last year kind of coming a couple years ago, and really you can just kind of look at makeup of team. You can look at what your senior class might look like, maybe where some of your strengths are, where some of your weaknesses are.
Right.
And do you have some guys in the pipeline that can kind of, help fill some of those gaps? So we felt like last year or this past season, we knew this was something that we were going to probably experience. And that would have been if we were inside of Gaps or inside of GIA. It wouldn't have really mattered. What's unfortunate for us is we've had several teams that we could have, in any year could have gone into.
And we talked about this. State champions easily.
Easily. So I think it clouds it a little bit. But I think what it does for this group that's here now, I think it creates a hunger inside of them to prove something to a lot of people. I think also in the last couple of years, I think there's been a you always fight this. It's a thing with kids that you always have to fight. Is just you've had some success.
Yep.
And I bring this up every year. Don't rest on any of the success personally that you've had, or that a team or program. Because for a lot of the guys, we only had 3 guys that were coming back that were actual starters from the previous year. So when you look at that, that's a lot of turnover of guys that have maybe been on a roster but haven't ever been in the moment and had to really, compete at a high level when it really mattered. So what we did was we specifically made a tough schedule, and it ended up being, it was the toughest schedule of anyone in this area around, in Georgia, and it was the toughest schedule in all classifications inside of GIA. That was extremely intentional. What I was hoping to do was test these guys, especially early on, and maybe increase that learning curve that needed to happen for some of our guys that were going to be juniors. It really wasn't our senior class. It was for our sophomores and juniors, and being able to maybe elevate that learning curve a little bit, speed it up. And we felt like going into the playoffs, we were in a really good position because we were playing our best baseball. We won every single region matchup, against Brookstone, Pacelli, Strong Rock, and Westfield. 4 strong opponents and we took every single one of those series. Playing a Lakeside that won 50-something games and splitting with them and really feeling like we should have probably swept them.
Right.
Outside of making a mental mistake and an error, and so playing that really strong competition. We went to Cartersville and played a tournament there and played 3 teams from Illinois. That again in the draft the other day had several of their guys go in the draft. So we played some really good competition that really we felt stretched our guys. It was uncomfortable at times, but we felt like it was going to put us in the best position to be able to compete. Going into this next year, we've got to make some adjustments.
No doubt.
And so we've already, a couple things that we're looking at. There's a few things that will shift in terms of what our off season looks like. We take pride in what we do in our off season. Our summer is not a real grueling summer. It's our fall. For us, our fall, when we get going.
Why is that? Why do you do that instead of summer?
I've always felt like I can't do this to them for 12 months.
Okay.
And so
the season just ended.
The season just ended. And again, other people look at, and here's the counter to it. I just ended the season. I've got a hunger to jump right back into it. So we put things in place in the summer, but they're going to throw 3 times a week, and then they're going to lift 4 times a week.
Right.
That's June and July, but there's vacations and there's travel ball.
Right.
And so you're not really, it's really hard to, unless you're doing it with like a real small group of guys, our program doesn't lend itself to that. But when we get into fall,
it's hard.
Yeah, it's a grind. I mean, it's 5 to 6 days a week. The lifting is extremely difficult. The throwing that we have them do on their own, is kind of prescribed for them on what they're doing. It's progressive. And really just trying to put them in a position to, one, challenge themselves, challenge their teammates, and really develop a mental toughness that is going to carry with them. We need to do a better job on the mental toughness because, again, last year, and you look back to the last several years, we've had a lot of guys that have been battle-tested and they were able to kind of come through and they've developed that mental toughness. For some of our, now I feel like our guys that went through it last year, those guys know what to expect this coming year. But I think there's some things there that we can adjust. We've just brought on Rodney Rutherford, which is a huge hire for us.
Big time, coach.
Rodney will become our hitting instructor. He's already started working with our guys. In my opinion, he's one of the best hitting guys in this area. He was with me for 2 years in my early part here at Calvary. And then I brought him on, and he was my assistant coach and hitting coach with the Chatahoots for all 3 years. We've been looking for a way to make this happen for several years. When he was with us with the Hoots, trying to get him to be able to get over here, but he'll come on. He'll be one of our PE teachers, so he'll be here full time, and then he'll be coaching our baseball team. So we're really excited about that, and hope to have some other things that we can announce as we go through. We just did an upgrade in our field where we've addressed the transition from the infield to outfield.
Mega drop.
Yes, and we've got some other improvements that are going on there. One other thing I didn't mention early on was with our our football and soccer field. We're in the process of finalizing being able to add 2 more sections of bleachers identical to what we have there right now, which will be a huge addition for
You
for
need
us
it,
there.
Coach, because you have a ton of people that come on a Friday night that need a place to sit. So you need to have that, no doubt about it.
Yep. So that's my summary on everything. But in baseball, we will be back.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love it. We're coming. That's all I got to say on the matter. We're coming. Coach Rodney Rutherford, by the way, All-American at CSU, played in the Major League Baseball, and I think one of the best hitting instructors we've had in our area for quite some time. So big-time hire on that. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap it up here. State of the programs on Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
Here comes more big rigs loaded with new GMC trucks and SUVs to Glenn Smith in Opelika. Choose from a huge selection of the best-selling full-size GMC Sierras, discounted up to $13,500 off. New GMC Terrains with a fresh design, a spacious interior and safety features, discounted up to $4,000 off MSRP. Plus, enjoy no payments until October. Glenn Smith GMC, now celebrating 33 years. Get ready to drive and get ready to smile.
Final segment here of State of the Programs at Calvary Christian School. Coach, I do want you to talk about your staff. You can't do it by yourself, and more of the admin side of it here in athletics.
Yeah, so I've mentioned quite a bit today about Coach Dunn. So she teaches PE, but helps out with everything all around, especially game day setups and stuff. She just brings a ton of experience. Is great at what she does, and like I mentioned, she coaches a sport in every single season, which is difficult to do.
Very.
And the ability to transition from one to the next one, she is the epitome of what a coach is. So love having her on board. Rodney, we talked about bringing him on. He's going to be in that role of, right now he's actually helping Coach Halstead with softball practices during the day, so he's helping out there. He's obviously going to be with baseball, teach PE. He'll help out with game manager duties, and then obviously any type of events that we have on campus. He's just going to do a great job. He's already started to mesh well with the kids, and he really excited about the addition of him. And then we're in the process of hiring a athletic trainer. So Kaylee Walker. Her and her husband, they moved to North Georgia. So
shout out Jeremy.
In the next couple of weeks, we'll have a new hire coming on. She just graduated college, and she'll be on campus. So we're excited about our kids being able to start interacting with her. And then most importantly is
about to say, you cannot forget the most important one.
Jamie Smithwick. Jamie does a great job. Really the joke is Coach Dunn actually calls her boss because she makes everything run. So she's behind everything that we do. Our coaches rely on her. I rely on her. The school relies on her. She just does a phenomenal job in everything that she does. She does everything at such a high level, extremely professional, and again, just really kind of helps everything run. So. I've got a great staff that for me it's exciting to come in every single day. I enjoy coming in and working with with my team because they're all great at what they do.
Now it's finally time to your message to the community. What is the vision and the overall theme this year for 25-26 Calvary Athletics?
Yeah, we're trying to build. I mean, that's and you know I've talked about this before. It's not just building in numbers. It's really just how do we look to continually improve year after year after year, and really that's where you start to see that exponential growth in terms of success. And when we measure success in a lot of different ways. It's not just the wins and losses. It is how many of these kids are coming back and how many do they want to continue to stay inside the program, or how are we creating a program that's attractive, that is drawing other students in the school or even students from outside of Calvary coming in. And I feel like we're doing a really good job with that, where kids want to come in and play our sports here at Calvary. How are we doing in terms of mentoring our students? How are we doing in terms of spiritual growth? And just had a mom call me the other day and said, "Hey, my son, he wants to get baptized before he goes off to college. How can we make that happen?" You look at early on in the year, Coach Halstead was here at Calvary and baptized, I think, 9 girls, 9 of his softball girls.
That's incredible.
And we've had a lot of that. So you look at the growth there. You look at growth on the academic side. We really want to be better than we were last year in terms of our academic performance, and how do we improve on that year after year. So for us, I mean, for me, it always is going to be that. We're always constantly trying to improve. I feel like that's how you always stay ahead. That's how, again, we look at everything we do. We want to do it to honor God and to do it to the best of our abilities. So that is our attention and focus. And really just, again, where are the gaps? Where are things that we can look to improve? Where can I get better? Where can I help our coaches on a deeper level? That's our focus going into 25-26.
Innovative, always looking to grow, never getting complacent. Those are the ways to describe Steve Smith and Calvary Athletics. Coach, thank you so much as always, man, and looking forward to many things and continuing our coverage of Calvary Athletics right here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. It's State of the Programs. We'll see you next time.